Who's ready? Oh my goodness. I nearly took you on. I'm so sorry. You guys did.
That's one of those. Okay. Hello. Am I on? Okay. Hi. I just want to welcome everybody. I'm Catherine Wilson. I'm co-captain of HD6. Okay. I just want to thank you all. It's not on? It's on. It's on. Okay.
Kathy, just hold it a little closer.
Hold it closer. Better. Okay. I just want to thank you all for coming. We have so much food. I thank everybody who brought it, but if you are feeling like you want another helping, please feel free to go up. And the ice cream. Yes. I'm going to have to put it back in the freezer because it's going to melt. So please, everybody go and get your ice cream. It's your treat for coming today. I just wanted to let you know that we have an agenda for today, and we're starting off with Mark, and he's going to tell you all about that, what's happening. But first, Karen's going to draw the door prize. Oh, I wasn't told this. Karen is going to draw the door prizes. So, okay.
If you have not yet put your paper in here, you need to run because we're going to start drawing. All right. I want you to know I read over these assiduously. So if you put your email there, don't be surprised if I come and talk to you. Oh, Beth McCann. And come up and get your door prize. So Beth McCann says she thinks the biggest issue in Colorado is affordable housing.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
What's that?
You could
A happy hour drink. Okay.
You get a free drink at our happy hour next Thursday if you won this. So. Oh, Ryan Keeney. Ryan Keeney? Ryan Keeney? Whoa! Oh, Ryan. And Ryan picked the same thing that I picked. Well, I didn't enter. Tabor. 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 It's the truth. It's the truth. It's making everything bad.
You need it.
Judy Mead. Yay, Judy. Woo! Come on up here, Judy. No, you don't get to go. She said she wants to keep. Why not? I'm so. All right, I won't. I don't want to embarrass anybody. And here's our last door prize. Jamal Campbell. Yay! Woo! Can I read you something? Is that right? Okay, he says currently Tabor is seen as the most important issue. However, how is the state securing data privacy outside Colorado Privacy Act? And he has a solution, and I'll see if I can get these published so you guys can maybe vote on them some more. Thank you.
Mark. I'd love you by my side, Ma. Please come up. Let's give a big hand for Mark.
All right. Good evening, HD6ers. Come on, you guys need to wake up. Good evening, HD6ers. Much better. Thank you. We want to welcome you here. This is a great turnout. And quite honestly, we've been getting great turnouts all year. So I am so proud to tell everybody I live in HD6. And welcome back, Beth Turner. Beth is our county treasurer. Used to be in HD6. She was my co-PO 8 years ago. Moved out. Now she moved back. Just couldn't get enough of 6. I also want to acknowledge our second vice chair of this county party, Matthew Logan. And we love Matthew because he agrees to come here an hour and a half early and help us get all the chairs and tables out, help us bring in everything. Because most of us are getting too old to keep doing this. So, thank you, Matthew. And if you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. All right, so first of all, what? It's not Avon. Did you all notice our new banner? We've been trying to do a new banner for 3 years. Finally, we got it done. I got it ordered. We unveiled it at the picnic, and now it's getting unveiled here. I think it looks really nice. So I'm real happy with that. All right, the parts of the meeting where I do all my begging for dollars. As you know, we have to pay the church to use this every month. We have other bills we have to pay for, like supplies for here to have food. So I am asking, Tim, you can come in. I'm asking you to please donate whatever you can. There are envelopes on the tables. You can stick them. I don't know what happened. Oh, Janine's standing there. You can give it to Vanna White, and she will happily take your envelopes. If you want to do credit card, you need to fill the whole BRE out. If you're doing a check or cash and you've donated before, then I only need your name because you're already in the system. So we would appreciate everybody donating whatever you can, and that will help us. That money goes right back to HD6. The other ask is something you've all heard from me for almost 10 years. How many people in this room, raise your hand, are Century Club members? Not bad, but when I asked this question at an HD9 meeting last weekend, almost everybody's hand went up. So we have a long way to go.
What is it?
Century Club is the main fundraiser for the Denver Democratic Party. You can join for as little as $10 a month. It's a monthly credit card thing that just takes it out of your credit card every month. You can do annual. So monthlies are $10 for the basic, $20 for a couple, $45 for the Victory Club level, and $90 for the, God, I'm blanking, Millennial level. Or you can do $100 for a year, $200, $500, or $1,000. We are happy if everybody does $10 a month. That really adds up. We've had a somewhat good year. We started out great in January and February. I think people were in shock that we were actually going to get Trump. And the day he got inaugurated, January 20th, I got like 11 people that joined that one day. So I kind of wish they'd remember that. It has slowed down over the summer, but this month, the last 3 weeks, we've had a very good 3 weeks, and we've gotten like 20 new members. So I'm real happy about that, and we may come really close to our goal. So Beth should be happy about that. Smile, Beth. So if you want to join Century Club, same thing, fill out the BRE envelope. You can also go online, do it that way, or you can ask me to help you if you have questions. All right. Where's that coming from? Lori. The next Century Club event is going to be next month in September. I believe we're going to have a barbecue, and I believe it's going to be at Eric Clark and Garth Wall's house, which is southeast Denver. We haven't picked the date yet. I'm waiting for Eric to clear his schedule. So look for that next month. All right, next thing. All the food that is on the counters over there, people donate that and bring it with them. So there are thank yous that we need to give to a bunch of people. Janine brought all the fried chicken. Janine is known in our house district as the August fried chicken person. She told me this 4 months ago, and I said, I already know that, got it in. Where's Sue Felton? Sue, thank you. Cindy Lou Penniston, right in front. Lazarus Pax, right there. Lori Anderson in the back. Randy Ross, where are you? In the back over there. Bart Schmidt, right there. And then, as you hear every month, I bring most of the desserts because I'm a compulsive shopper. And when things are on sale, I buy them and then stick them in the freezer until the next meeting. I don't eat much of it, but I do love bringing desserts. And we have ice cream this month, left over from the picnic a few weeks ago. So we're like, let's bring that here. We'll do ice cream sundaes. And so thank you to Kathy, wherever she is. I don't know where Kathy is, but
she's putting all the food away. All the ice cream.
She stored all the ice cream at her house because I had no room to do that.
It's melting.
There's a phrase.
I know, but
oh yeah, help! I'm melting. So thank you, everybody, and I do need to make an ask. I have a sign-up sheet. I need 6 or 7 people to sign up to bring food, but only for the October meeting. We don't have food next month, which I'll explain. So we need people to sign up for October. We will not have a November meeting because we do our annual wine and cheese party in November. And December is our holiday party, which we buy all the food for, and it's in here. So please sign up. Please sign up to bring food, and I'll contact you like a week ahead of time and say, what would you like to bring? All right. Okay, quick announcement for the Denver Democratic Party. We have actually chosen a date for the annual dinner. It will be October 25th I believe James signed the contract the other day. And we are having it at a place we've never had it before. We're going to have it at Wings Over the Rockies Museum. So James, Emily, Megan, and I went out there last week, checked it out, got a tour, talked to them. We loved it. We thought this is a great location. They're willing to help us get everything organized. So save the date. We'll be sending stuff out. We don't know who the keynote speaker is going to be, but it is not for lack of trying. I've been reaching out to a lot of different people all over the country. I sometimes get, sorry, can't do it. We'll consider it. We'll think about it. So we have like a list of 10 people that we would like to get. Just one. So we will let you know when we find out. And we'll make that announcement. All right, so we have 4 school board candidates here tonight. Don't worry, they're not going to be up here speaking much. That's next month at the forum, which I will go through in a little while. But we decided we would give each of the school board candidates 1 minute to stand up, say who they are, and they can take their minute and say whatever they want. Kathy, are you ready?
I am.
Kathy is our timekeeper, and she doesn't take crap from anybody, so don't go over a minute. I mean, yeah, a minute. That's right.
I know.
Just looking around, I'm going to start with Amy Klein, who's running for at-large.
Is it on?
Yeah, your minute, go.
Okay, hi everyone. I am running for that large seat, but this is my home district. I live right over in Park Hill, and I'm running because I believe that education is our last great equalizer, and it is slipping away from us. I've worked in education for the past 15 years, working in education technology, building technology for kids, specifically to help them during COVID to have access to online education when so many didn't. And most recently, I've been working at a school as a special ed paraprofessional, and that's where I just knew that I had to fight to make sure that we had an equitable education for every single child, fair pay for all of our teachers, and all the resources all of our neighborhood schools need. I'm endorsed by the Teachers Union and by DELF, and I'm just so honored to be here, and I hope to see you all at the forums.
Thank you, Amy.
She was exactly 1 minute.
Oh, well, then she gets another minute.
No.
All right, I see DJ Torres right here, so we'll have him go next.
Oh, great. I'm so excited.
DJ is running for our district, District 3.
Tell me when to go.
You can go now.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Dr. DJ Torres, running for Denver Public Schools Board of Education, District 3. I am a former special educator, which is an educator of students on IEPs, students who have learning disabilities. I also worked in equity education for Denver Public Schools Central Office, where I contributed to a lot of the policies and practices that happen in Denver Public Schools. And now, most importantly, I'm a DPS dad. My partner and I adopted a kiddo 3.5 years ago. And so I like to say that I've seen DPS from all 3 sides, both from the classroom, from the central office, and now as a DPS parent, running because I care very much about seeing the absolute best for every single student and every single educator that comes through Denver Public Schools. I am also, like Amy, endorsed by the Denver Classroom Teachers Association, the Teachers Union, also endorsed by DELF as well, Denver Area Labor Federation. Really thankful to have had those endorsements. Thank you all for the opportunity to be here to talk with you all both tonight for 1 minute and next month.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, DJ. Scott Esserman is in the back of the room, also running for our district, District 3. Scott is currently the current at-large elected person.
Hi, thanks for having me, and thanks for your support in my first 4 years on the board. We've done a lot of really great work, and I'm running because we have to continue that work. Yes, I'm an educator. I'm a lifelong educator for over 20 years. Yes, I'm a parent. I have a son who's going to be a senior in Denver Public Schools this year, and he will be able to vote for me just as my daughter voted for me on her ballot 4 years ago. And so we have delivered. In the last 4 years, we raised the minimum wage in Denver Public Schools to $20 an hour. And that's a start for our lowest paid employees. We're working on $25 an hour as our next step. That's one. That's two. We have supported extensively our LGBTQ plus community, both our educators and our students. We have additionally supported our immigrant students, new to country students, and we have stood up to the Trump administration and will continue to. We were the first district in the country to sue the Trump administration over ICE raids. I look forward to your support.
Thank you, Scott. And our final candidate is in the back of the room, and she's running also for District 3, and that's Karen Blank.
Hi, good evening. So happy to be here. My name is Karen. I live in Lowry, 2 DPS graduates and one who's going to be a freshman this fall. And I am really excited to be running in District 3 because I have been an early childhood.
Oops.
I don't want to have my back towards anyone.
Yeah, I'll start you. Oh.
It's okay. I have a background in early childhood education, both locally and nationally, and in nonprofit leadership. So I've done a lot of work with boards, both lay and professionals, in what governance means, what healthy governance is. And I think community engagement and relationships with families is critical in schools and having strong schools. And strong schools are really the backbone of strong communities. So I think that it starts at a local level, and I want to be able to influence the way that we are seeing children in our schools, the way we're hearing every voice of our children and teachers, families, and bring some transparency and accountability to the district. So thanks, and I look forward to seeing you all again.
Thank you, Karen. All right, so we are going to get back to what we're doing next month. But first, I'm going to ask Andrew to come up and introduce our first speaker.
I am the short Andrew, but that's okay. Dana Miller, she would like 5 minutes to talk about immigration detention issues upcoming. And there's an upcoming protest that she wants everybody to know that's going to be at the prisons. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dana Miller. I'm the co-lead of the Denver Immigrant Protection Team. We have 25 immigrant protection teams across the state now. From areas like Denver, we've got them in Crestone, we've got them in Sawatch, we've got them in Cortez. It's really exciting. But who here has heard that there are 6 potential detention centers that could become up and running in Colorado?
Wow.
So the most likely one is the one in Walsenburg. And it's a core civic for-profit prison that has been empty for about 10 years, but could be up and running soon. There's a huge amount of mobilizing going on in Walsenburg around this issue and around a bunch of other issues. And people have been coming from all over the state to support them. So on the 15th of August, we'd like to invite you all with hundreds of other people. We're getting in cars and we're going to Walsenburg. So it's going to be really exciting. We're going to be right at the prison. We've already been in contact with Colorado Public Radio and their Southern Bureau, and we hope to get a lot of press over this. This could be one of the first really big protests at one of these kinds of prisons that they're asking to have them be, repurposed for detention centers across the country. I was on a call today with the Detention Watch Network, and there are people all over the country that are concerned about these same issues. If you'd like to join us at this historic event in Walsenburg on the 15th, I'm not quite sure, maybe just take a pen and write down my email. It's pompomdana, POMPOMDANA @gmail.com. Please get a hold of me and we can figure out a way to get you down to Walsenburg on the 15th. And so Pom Pom Dana, just want to let you know that the tagline to Pom Pom Dana is cheerleader for the universe. Thank you very much.
She was very good, guys. She only did 3 minutes. Cheer. All right, our next person coming back to talk is somebody I know well, Mark.
All right, so you've heard us talking about school board candidates. So a few months ago, the Denver Democratic Executive Committee, which is all of us in leadership, we meet once a month with all the other House districts. There was a resolution brought to the meeting to consider endorsing school board candidates this year. And if you want a lot of details about that, talk to Andrew. He's the rules person. I'm just wanting to let you know what's going to go on. So in HD6, we decided we would do a school board forum September 2nd because we've already got the church reserved. We just won't have a regular meeting. We'll have a school board candidate forum. And we've added in parts of HD2, HD8, and HD9 that are in School District 3. Currently, School District 3, our elected person is Carrie Olson. Carrie is term limited, I guess in November. I think that's when her term ends, right? So we are going to have a new director. So what we decided to do for ours, we're going to have a forum with the 3 District 3 candidates and the 2 at-large candidates. They will be up here. This forum will happen in place of our regular meeting from 7 to 8:30. If you're a PO, you should be getting an email explaining a lot of this, and if you want to ask questions, you can put them in writing. Sandy, if I'm screwing up, tell me. Sandy is going to be one of our moderators. She's the captain in HD2. So there are 2 other forums that are also going to happen, not the same night. September 10th, I believe, is going to be the Northeast Denver districts, which are not us. But they will have a forum there. I'm not sure where it is at this moment. And then September 15th, there will be another forum for Southwest and West Denver. So in some of the school districts, the elected officials are in midterm, so they don't have to run for 2 more years. So Southeast Denver, Kimberly Sia continues with her 4-year term, and in Northwest Denver, Marlena is in the middle of her term. She gets to continue for 2 more years. Scott is not running for at-large. He's decided to run for District 3. So there's an opening in the at-large seat, and then District 2, District 3, and District 4. So there are 4 openings. The other at-large person got elected 2 years ago, John Youngquist, so he doesn't run this time. We hope to fill this room up with 175 people. On this, they are all good with that. But you will get something sent out if you are a PO. You can also not attend, and you can watch it, I guess, on YouTube, right? Yeah. If you don't want to come. The part that a lot of people are not understanding is when we do our endorsements, that happens on September 20th. And that happens in what we call the Fall Central Committee meeting of the Democratic Party of Denver. So if you're on the Central Committee, which is POs, electeds. Who else? Appointed. And it might be somebody that can't attend. They do a proxy for somebody they know. That meeting will happen Saturday, the 20th of September. Don't know where it is yet. We're waiting to hear back from Denver Public Schools. I believe we're trying to get either Lincoln High or Kennedy High, because the poor people that live in Southwest Denver always get screwed and have to come out to GW and South and East. So we're trying to be nice to them this time. If you are not going to be able to attend, you must get a proxy, and that will all be in the mail that you get. I would assume the notice will go out probably September 9th or 10th. Has to go out 10 days earlier. So don't freak out right now, but it is a lot, and we will vote on September 20th what candidates we are endorsing for the November election. So there's a lot on the line, and we have some really good candidates. So it's a lot to think about, and feel free to ask questions afterwards, because we want to move on with the meeting. But I will be here the rest of the night till you all leave. So feel free to ask.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Fisher. I'm the captain for House District 6A, which is everything west of Colorado Boulevard. Good to see a full room. I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker. We obviously have school board elections this November, but we will also have the Democratic primary for statewide office, I believe next summer. And we're going to start bringing in candidates for those offices. If you were at our summer picnic and ice cream social last month, you heard him very briefly, but we brought him back tonight for a little bit longer. It is Michael Doherty. Michael is the district attorney for the 20th Judicial District, which is Boulder County, and he is running to be Attorney General. Please welcome Michael Doherty.
Good evening, HD6. How are we doing today? It is great to be here and great to see many faces that I saw at the picnic. And I'm really excited to talk with you about why I'm running for Attorney General. It is such an incredibly important office, and having worked there before myself, including with Beth McCann, I know firsthand the impact that office has on Coloradans, especially in these scary and challenging times. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my priorities, but what I want to highlight right at the start is the amount of experience I have as a lawyer and a leader and someone who's been called upon to deal with crisis after crisis after crisis. That matters because right now, Colorado and the United States are in a crisis caused by the Trump administration, and I promise you I'm going to fight him every single day and stand up for the rule of law. But I'm going to rearrange how I was going to talk about my priorities and pick up where Dana left off talking about immigration, so I really appreciated your remarks, Dana. How many of you agree that birthright citizenship is a constitutional right in the United States? How many of you agree that ICE agents should pull down their mask and let themselves be identified? Those are lawsuits that Phil Weiser has brought against the federal government. And he and his office deserve a strong round of applause for that. And I say his office because we all know Phil Weiser, but he supervises and leads an office of 400 attorneys. That's so important when you think about what it means to lead a small army of attorneys who are committed to doing justice and fighting for Coloradans. And I have the experience to hit the ground running on day one. This can't be a job that one learns slowly over time. It can't be a job that when the next Attorney General takes over, there's massive turnover in the office. This is a job that we have to continue to build off the work that Phil Weiser has been doing and standing up, including on immigration. So a couple things about immigration. First, after I leave here tonight, I'll be driving out to Grand Junction for a campaign event tomorrow night. But at noon tomorrow, I'll be in the Grand Junction Public Library doing a Know Your Rights training. Thank you. I've been doing these trainings in Boulder County since I became district attorney in 2018, so that people know what their rights and protections are under the law here in Colorado. It's why I strongly supported Senate Bill 276 to extend the protections that we have. And I want to highlight something Dana said. Private prisons should be outlawed in the state of Colorado. And it's my hope that the protest that Dana and others have taken up prompts the state to eliminate the 2 private prisons we have operating at the state level.
Yes.
Because profit should have no role in the justice system.
Amen.
Because what we see happening is these for-profit corporations putting the money back in their pockets instead of successfully rehabilitating individuals in the state prison system. And to me, when we look at Alligator, Alcatraz, it is scary that Colorado is being focused on for these private prisons. So I appreciate Dana and others protesting it. And that should extend to what we're seeing at the state level. And I promise you I'll fight for immigrants and the rule of law every day as your next Attorney General.
Thank you.
And just on a personal level, my grandparents all came over on the boat from Ireland with nothing but the shirts on their backs. I was telling our son this recently, and my son said, "Nothing but the shirts on their backs?" I said, "Yes." He said, "No pants." I'm like, buddy, let me walk you through this a little bit. But in all seriousness, they came here and they worked incredibly hard. My grandpa worked at the supermarket his entire life after arriving in Brooklyn, New York, which is where I was born. My grandmother cleaned offices at night and cleaned bathrooms at night to support her kids. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, into a family with an incredibly strong work ethic where I learned to fight for what I believe in and to fight for this country. And as a result, after I graduated from community college myself and went on to get my bachelor's degree, I went to law school knowing I wanted to serve my community. That was 28 years ago. I loaded trucks at UPS at night to put myself through community college. And ironically, my first trial, when I started as a prosecutor with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, straight out of law school, was a UPS driver who was stealing watches off the truck. But that trial was 28 years ago. So the first time I'm going to be in court against Trump is not the first time I'm going to be in court. I've been in court my entire career. And when it comes to protecting our immigrants, but also protecting and prioritizing public safety in the great state of Colorado, I bring a ton of experience to that. So I served at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and ultimately I was put in charge of the entire office's day-to-day operations of 1,300 people, including 650 attorneys. And I learned firsthand what it means to lead with integrity, and to help that office pursue justice, and to fight for what's right, and to get out in the community and serve the people directly. But I moved to the great state of Colorado in part because of our outdoors. So I will always fight for our public lands and our environment. I can promise you that. That's going to be more important than ever as we see the federal government rolling back the Environmental Protection Agency. The next Attorney General is going to have to do even more. So, for example, Suncor, I'm just going to speak very directly as I always do. They paid a $10 million fine last year. They should have paid $110 million for polluting poor communities and communities of color. We need to make sure that the Attorney General's office stands strong, and the AG's office has authority over civil and criminal violations when it comes to our environment. And when it comes to protecting our public lands, I'm going to do that. It's one of the reasons I moved to the great state of Colorado. In fact, my wife and I, while living in Brooklyn, New York, had come out here so I could run the Pikes Peak Marathon. And I kind of laughed too when I looked up at Pikes Peak, and I said, you know what? If I live through this today, we should definitely move to Colorado someday. But I moved here ultimately because I had a job offer from the Attorney General's office. And I came out here to oversee a wrongful conviction project run out of the AG's office. And then shortly thereafter, I was put in charge of the entire criminal section for the AG's office. So I've handled cases all around the state of Colorado. And I know what it means to be at the AG's office and the impact that office can and should have when it comes to supporting smaller communities and rural communities and standing up and fighting for our water and standing up and fighting for communities that struggle. And I think it was mentioned earlier how much Beth McCann thinks affordable housing is an issue in Colorado, and I could not agree more. And our Attorney General's office has a key role when it comes to affordable housing in a number of different ways. And we saw that during the mortgage crisis back in the late 2009, 2010 time period. But even more recently, Phil Weiser and I teamed up about a year and a half ago to bring an action against an unscrupulous landlord who was scamming mostly college students out of their security deposits and using hidden and deceptive fees. For example, charging them for having to shovel their driveway, which sounds okay, except they didn't have a driveway. So that's a scam. But also keeping their security deposits, unless the students got their parents or an attorney involved, and then they would return the money and say, oh, sorry about that, we just had a delay. Phil and I teamed up with our offices, and we secured a $1 million settlement on behalf of all the victims there. So when you think about what it means to stand up for affordable housing, the AG's office plays a key role. And I see that in my position as the district attorney for Boulder County. I have the privilege of leading a great, great staff. We have an incredible team. And I'm very grateful for that because we've been responsible for investigating the Marshall Fire, investigating and prosecuting the King Soopers mass murder, investigating and now prosecuting the Pearl Street hate crime attack. And every time I've stood in front of about 150 people in a room this size, investigators and prosecutors, after these things have happened in the first hours, and told them, here's what we're going to do to get justice. We are going through a crisis, and the community is counting on us. So I'm really grateful to the staff. We have 120 people in my office. If you want to guess what percentage live outside Boulder County because they can't afford to live in Boulder County? 70%.
Wow.
70. So I'm honored that they commute past other DA's offices to get to our office, but think about what that means to their wallets, to their family's income, to the gas, the traffic, the environment, and so on. So I want to make sure that affordable housing is a priority as your next Attorney General, and that we continue the work that Phil and I did on that realty case in securing that $1 million settlement. I am deeply committed to standing and fighting for the rule of law. That now requires us to fight Donald Trump. I am ready to hit the ground running day one, having been a prosecutor at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office for 13 years, then at the Attorney General's Office, and then here in Colorado at 2 different District Attorney's offices. I had the honor of being elected District Attorney in 2018. I am not term limited, and I don't need a new job. I'm doing this because I feel compelled to do exactly what all of you are doing, exactly what Dana's doing, standing and doing everything we can right now to fight for what's right. People have been encouraging me to run for Attorney General, and it wasn't until election night when I was sitting there with my wife, Antonia, and she looked at me. The results were coming in. She said, "You are actually running for Attorney General." She's a strong person. Yes. But she was right, because she saw, as Mark indicated earlier, we weren't going to be caught flat-footed in our family or in our office. So our immigrant protection program, we started ramping up our Know Your Rights trainings in Boulder County. And now as a candidate, I'm honored to do those statewide, because the fight is on and I am here for it. I'm happy to take any questions you have. Thank you.
Hi, we met at DemFest, and it was such a pleasure to talk with you. So I want to talk about 2 specific things. One is the executive orders and the abuses against trans and queer youth specifically, but the entire community. And 2 is our data security, including data at the Children's Center. True, they've been subpoenaed to provide code, like insurance codes, which compromises my daughter's privacy. And I want to make sure that whoever is in our lead is focused on protecting our data security, not just for her and other kiddos like her, but they are also going after our voting data, where we donate, where we live, who we support, and that stuff, if that lands in like one big data pile, we're kind of all screwed. So I really just want to make sure that you know where I'm sitting, but I'm also, it's a broader issue. They start with a small marginal group so that they can see how far they can push. You know what I mean? So I guess my question is, how strong do you plan to stand?
I will fight with every ounce of my being, every ounce of my fiber, and I will outwork everyone to make sure we stand for the rule of law and stand for justice in Colorado. That's the work I've been doing my entire career. And now, as the next Attorney General, these are fights that I would have to take on, and I'm absolutely committed to it. So, thank you. We are living through scary, challenging times, and you've identified 2 of the issues, and there are so many, because they are the Trump administration, you're right, pushes, and also floods the zone. So we never feel like we're winning, even when Phil Weiser's office brings lawsuits in which he's prevailed 33, he's prevailing in nearly all of them. It doesn't feel that way, because the next day they roll out something else. So in terms of our LGBTQ plus community, it is a scary time right now. In fact, I'll share with you, when I became district attorney in 2018, I formed a strong partnership with Rocky Mountain Equality, and we launched a hate crimes initiative. In fact, on a Sunday afternoon, I was going to be their speaker at their annual event to talk about our work on hate crimes when I got the call about the Pearl Street hate crimes attack against the Jewish community, and I had to turn around. But now it means doing what I've been doing in Boulder County for years, which is standing with the trans community, and as Attorney General, suing the federal government to make sure that they don't harm our trans community members. In data privacy, I would do what other attorneys general have done in suing the federal government to try to block them from getting our data. It is difficult and hard, but the courts are the only place where we're winning. Doesn't feel that way always, and Trump doesn't always listen to the courts. But they are the only shield we have. The rule of law is the only thing stopping Trump from harming others. Yeah. So when it comes to our trans community members and our data, it's about going to court and fighting for what's right, and that's the kind of work I've been doing my entire 28-year career.
Yeah.
Hi.
We have time for one. No, we have one other person. We can do two. Two more. Okay.
I could pick many issues, but I'm going to pick DEI, because DEI is really about opportunity. So I want not a political answer, but a legal answer. How do you fight DEI in the courts and something that'll win, and/or how can we give an example of what a DEI initiative can be that would pass the current courts here?
Okay, good question and great shirt. So for those of you who don't know, that means he's run a faster time in the Boulder than his age, which is really impressive, actually. So what I will say, a couple things. First, I'm deeply committed to DEI. That will never change. And if you go on the district attorney website right now, you'll see our DEI statement right there. The threat of federal funding being pulled from my office will not cause us to step back from our values and our beliefs. We are going to remain standing strong. Beth McCann and I were two of the first district attorneys in the state of Colorado to launch a deep dive data analysis to identify racial inequities that exist in the justice system. Note that I didn't say if, but to find out where they exist and how we can go about doing that work. That's the kind of work we've been doing, that I've been doing for years. So to answer your question, part of it is recognizing that Trump does not have control over the funding for the states. That has to go through Congress. So when Trump talks about and blackmails, whether it's an NFL team, a community, a state, you name it, tries to use extortion to get us to give up our values, I will stand strong, as Phil Weiser did when they came for the state funding, in saying that that money has to go to the Department of Education, the grant funding has to come. It can only be stopped through acts of Congress. So the Attorney General, the legal answer is, I have the role, responsibility, and obligation to go to court to fight for that funding and make sure we preserve our values, and DEI being the top priority for that.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm a fan of yours.
Thank you.
My question to you is, a lot of times we talk about DEI, we talk about vulnerable communities and how we can help them, but we never, at least I haven't seen many campaigns where their compensated campaign staff has those communities that they're talking about. And I think sometimes they miss the nuances, they don't show up certain places because they just don't know they exist, and things of that nature. So what does your campaign staff that's compensated look like?
That is a great question, and thankfully I have what I think is a good answer. When I leave here to head to Grand Junction, I'm picking up Sam, who's a young black man who's working on my campaign with me. He is outstanding, and I could go on and on about Sam. If you were at the picnic, you may have met him. Great young guy, and really just an all-star in every respect. He's going to be running for office someday, and I'll be standing here telling you to vote for Sam. But other than that, we have a small campaign team, and I think we have a good mix of diversity, and that's an area that I focused on as district attorney as well, and I promise you to do that as the next attorney general too. Thank you.
Hey, Michael.
Hi,
so being DA is in some ways just a very big management job. You're at the top of a large organization. You're managing hundreds of employees. Can you talk about what you've done as Boulder County DA and what accomplishments you've had, successes you've had, challenges you've had as a manager of people, as DA, that make you qualified to do the job as Attorney General?
Well, I appreciate that question, especially because when you think about the Attorney General's office, it's more than just one person. It is hundreds of staff. And that question highlights the need for leadership experience and management experience. So I learned that supervising 1,300 people at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and then at the AG's office, the head of the criminal section. And to answer your question, since becoming district attorney in Boulder County, it's about leading people every day with a sense of integrity and a commitment to doing justice, recognizing them as individuals and supporting them and lifting them up in their work. It means, too, in an office the size of mine, we have 120 people, but when you have the King Super's mass murder, there's never been anything that's come into my office where I thought we couldn't handle it. Every single challenge I knew we'd be able to handle. But they've had impacts on our office. So it's about helping the staff with secondary trauma, vicarious trauma, getting support in their own lives so that they can be healthy in mind and body and do the work that's entrusted to them. Right. So yesterday, we had a guy arrested for incredibly terrible images involving little babies. That's all I'm going to say. But there's going to be prosecutors and investigators, paralegals, and staff who go through every single video, every single photo. So it's about making sure that they always have the integrity to do the job well and to live up the trust that we are given by our community. So it's about leading them and recognizing that they all are individuals and they all have their lives and things happen. But I've been incredibly successful in retaining our staff and making sure that they stay focused on the mission of doing justice, not racking up convictions like notches in a gun belt, but always fighting for the right outcome for the community and being transparent and accessible to the community every step of the way.
Thank you. We have just 2 more questions.
Okay, we've got time for 2 more quick questions here and then one there.
Quick. First, thank you for running. Secondly, I would say that as a black voter, and I think I speak for other black voters, we are tired of carrying the Democratic Party through elections. And it is consistent that we are not being reflected in the Democratic Party. And so trying to figure out what is your campaign going to be doing to reach out specifically to black voters, because I know there are several after the 2024 election who are, quite frankly, tired. And I know that the Democratic Party cannot afford to lose black voters. And so with that, we are the most loyal group than anybody else in the Democratic Party. We turn out the highest than anybody else in the Democratic Party. What is the plan to actively engage black voters, and then when you are elected as Attorney General, to fight for the black constituents that you have? I will say Attorney General Phil Weiser, he has shown up not only just in protests, but he's shown up for community every step of the way. And so I would just say, please take that as the next AG, but really just center what is the plan for the black voters, because we're tired.
So I'm deeply committed to it. Before I get into that, Tay, let me say, I agree with everything you just said. And when we think about Trump, we tend to focus on him because he is more than just an elephant in the room, right? He's scaring and harming a ton of people. But we lost to Trump because we lost some trust in communities that we should be serving, that we should be helping, that we should be lifting up, and that should be represented within the Democratic Party. So it's about restoring trust in our democracy and restoring trust in the Democratic Party. So, for example, some of the things I've been doing since district attorney is having a strong working relationship with black community leaders, doing a ton of community outreach. I've done that all my career. And as a candidate, it's exactly what I'm doing. So, meeting just last week, along with Beth McCann with the Ministerial Alliance, for example, and talking to them about my priorities. And when they asked me a similar question today, what I said to them, I'll say to you, which is, this is not just the work I'm going to do as a candidate. As Attorney General, I want them at the table with me, helping me understand what I need to do to better lead for Colorado and to build a better tomorrow for Colorado.
All right, one more. Thank you.
I'm just wondering how you would differentiate yourself as a candidate from other likely candidates for the Attorney General, including Jenny Griswold and several others. I don't know how many there are right now, but how do you set yourself apart?
So how I set myself apart is I'm going to build off what someone over here said, which is experience. So I've been a prosecutor for 28 years. I've handled the most serious trials we've had in Colorado. And at times of crisis, I've been called by other jurisdictions to go there and help. So 3 years ago, I lived in Durango for 5 weeks trying a cold case homicide of a 12-year-old boy because they didn't have the staff down there to do it. I'm the one who has been called to answer when we have trouble in the legal community. and I've always done that. So it's not just my words. I would encourage you to judge me by my record and by my actions, both as a leader and as a lawyer. And experience isn't always the sexiest thing to talk about. I can't believe I said sexiest, I'm sorry. It's not always the sexiest thing to talk about, but if you were asked to lead a large army, or if you were getting on a plane, let's say you go to DIA after this, and there's a huge thunderstorm rolling in, you go up to the pilot and you say, do you feel qualified? And the pilot says, I've read the book, and I promise you I'm going to do a good job. You probably are turning around. We are in a storm right now. So experience actually matters. Going to court and knowing how to fight for justice matters. Knowing how to lead an office and having done it for years with success matters. I'd be honored to be the next Attorney General. And I would work like hell and fight like hell for Colorado and for everyone in this room. And I really appreciate your time, appreciate you being here.
T-shirt.
Oh.
I brought a T-shirt with me, and I was trying to figure out how to give it away. The woman in the back who said she's a fan, I was like, oh, it goes to her. But you all had, we had the Boulder shirt. So I think what I'm going to do is give it to the timekeeper, who has probably the toughest job when it comes to candidates. And she could decide which one of you should get it. And for the fan in the back, I'm going to get you a shirt, yes, because I see you waving and I appreciate you. But thank you all and have a great night.
All right, as Mark mentioned, next month is our school board candidate forum, but we're going to have more attorney general candidates at our October meeting. We're going to have Hedel Doshi and David Seligman, and hopefully we will get Jenna Griswold sometime, certainly before the primary. All right, with that, very quick announcement from Karen, and then our final speaker.
So, we have a very wonderful and important event coming up in August. I put one of these on your tables. I put one like this. This is for volunteers. But I put one like this. This is for you to sign up to participate. So we really want participation in the Dash for Democracy, which is coming up on August 16th in the morning at City Park.
City Park.
So you just need to sign up as a participant. You look on your table, or raise your hand, and I'll tell you one. Or a volunteer. We would really like to have a couple volunteers to show up early and help set up. We need that. We really need that. So please come and join us at the Dash for Democracy. Thank you.
All right, last but not least, we have our very own clerk and recorder. Denver clerk and recorder Paul Lopez and his assistant Gustavo dos Santos. They have a quick presentation. I've been told it is titled Election Rundown. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm Paul Lopez. I'm your clerk and recorder for City and County of Denver. Thank you for having me. Let's get down to some business. I'm going to talk about the last November election, and it's going to be painful, but it's going to be healthy. It's going to be a healthy discussion. Gustavo is a part of my engagement squad. We basically have organizers in our office because why not? And we have to do the work year round. We know that the funding's dry depending on the election, so you don't really have people going year round. We do. And we are engaging in every precinct that we possibly can. We're doing targeting in areas that quite often don't turn out, but are also left out in Denver, including HD6. So know that, for me, it's not my business how you vote, although I'm a Democrat. I care very deeply about what's happening in our country right now. I think I could, now that who's not on the ballot anymore, I could talk all the shit I want. Because he's not going to be on the ballot for the Constitution. So if you hear me make comments like that, know that I'm free and clear to do it. But I won't do it if you're on the ballot. Okay? And also because a threat to democracy is a threat and an affront to what we believe in and what we stand for. And me, as your independently elected clerk and recorder, am doing it on your behalf. So let me run down a little bit. Okay, little mic. All right. Who can see that screen? You guys okay? Yeah? All right. The mood. All right. So my vision is easy. Democracy for all. Access to marriage for everybody. Bar none. Everybody has the equal right to be miserable if they want to. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I stole that from Jay Leno, so I was hilariously laughing at it. It stayed in my mind since I was a kid, so there you go. Now it's yours. Refunds are at the courthouse and not at my house, okay? Where everybody can participate in the democratic process, marry who they love, have access to the records of all of our land transactions in Denver, and a fair foreclosure process. Next one. That was me before my barber went on break. Basically what I do, because a lot of people still don't know that they have a clerk and recorder in Denver, or that I'm independently elected and I don't work for the mayor, not appointed by anybody. I'm only elected by you all. Okay? City clerk, file all the contracts, campaign finance. Please check out Searchlight. We basically did something revolutionary in Denver. All you got to do is a quick click, right? Compared to what you used to have to do and almost have a research methods degree just to be able to do it. Marriages, public trustee. We don't take sides in the foreclosure process. We can't. We are the public third-party overseer people. We basically ensure that the process is fair and it's being followed, okay? I'm your chief elections official. Anything that is elections in Denver is vested exclusively in the clerk and recorder. That's what the people said. That's what was adopted. That's what you guys voted, and that's what we're doing. The council has to. They shall provide the clerk and recorder with the means and the resources and office space necessary for us to be able to do our job. We are independent. It's not everybody thinks that, and we'll get to that point. So next slide. We're here to talk a little bit about double duty. 2024, we had 4 elections. Who could tell me what that little extra election was? We don't normally have 4. We have the presidential primary, state primary. We had 2024 election, that's right, the presidential. We also had one in Green Valley Ranch. It was basically HOA on steroids. They had a problem with each other. We had to run the election. That was great. 38 boxes in 2020. We have almost, in 2019, really, we only had like 20-something odd boxes, like 26. We have almost doubled the amount of drop boxes we have. In 2024, 608,000 ballots cast. Election in November, in total, we had the 369, counted cast cards. There's the same difference. You messed up right there. Sorry. Next one, next slide. We all know this. Yes. Let's not forget it. Cheer for the one that you like the most. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, good. Show's over. Go home, guys. Have a good night. Okay, next one. By the numbers. Let's get serious. Okay? We had more registered voters, less ballots cast. We had 86% turnout in COVID. You remember this thing right here? That, right? 86%. We had less, 76%. This is Denver.
This is Denver.
38 drop boxes. We had 45 this year. Can't say it's access, right? The SPCs, we had 3 more this last year. And we did it with less election judges. Efficient, greater access. What the hell happened? Let's go to the next one. Citywide turnout. 23%. I'm going to say 23.07%, because 07 is something. 07 was something for me when I first ran. 07 is something for a lot of people, because sometimes these things, all it takes is one vote. Okay? So you got to make it yours. Here's the key challenges. 28% of unaffiliated voters did not cast their vote. Okay? These unaffiliated, when you go to the DMV, first time registration, the DMV doesn't give you a political science lesson on the difference between parties. I challenge you to say that fairly. It's hard. We don't, right? 42% of young voters, 18 through 25, did not cast their ballot. My daughter excluded back there because she's going to be a first-time voter in November. Election judge, by the way. See you, Buff, by the way. 43% of ballots were cast on November 5th and 6th. What is that significant to us? Because if we get the majority of ballots in before that Monday and Tuesday, it's success. It means we got it in early. What we don't like is the majority of those ballots coming in the last minute. I don't want to say that it's a late vote. It's not a late vote. The only late vote that you have doesn't even count because it's past 7 o'clock and we just, sorry, that's the law. We like that early because we can start processing that early. A lot of states cannot do that. Okay? We start processing. We start counting. We don't hit tabulation until 7 p.m. Okay? And it makes a huge difference for those of you who are election judges. Voting by method. 9% of all ballots were cast in person is the average, right? Go to the next one because I have news for you. HD6, 81% turnout. Not bad. Not bad. I don't want to break your heart with 2020 numbers, so we're just going to focus on that one, okay? Because y'all are a little higher. HD6, 18.45% of registered voters did not return their ballots. 23% of unaffiliated voters did not cast their ballot. Among HD6, 88% turnout for Dems, 80% for Republicans, unaffiliated 77%. Don't pay attention to the Republican ones. And I tell the Republicans too, maybe about this. I tell them too, because I have the same conversation with them. It's the unaffiliated you should be paying attention to. Right? Additionally, 27.5% of the ballots were cast on election day. Is that good or bad? Bad. You know why? That should be 11 points lower on average. We had more people come on election day in person, and we had lines. And lines are a bad word in my office. It is a smear. It is a stain. It is whatever you want to call it. We do not like it because we do everything possible so that people in Denver can vote. Scratch that. People in Colorado can vote early, 22 days before the election. We process it. We give you a mail-in ballot. All you got to do is send it back. Sometimes you don't even need to put a stamp on it, and we take care of it on the back end, right? We do everything. We pay first class when they threaten to slow the mail down. And you telling me that we had a surge at the last minute? Who were those voters? Let's go next one. Ballots cast. Graphs. Turnout rate 82%. Total ballots cast. Total return. Republicans, Dems, unaffiliated, minor party. Right? You all have friends, but yes, ma'am. How many registered voters are there? Well, that's an HD6. That's 49,244. In Denver, that's about 533,000, and I would say about less than 20% that are active.
So the total ballots cast was 49,000?
And HD6.
Out of how many?
And HD6. That's I got to look at the turnout I got to look at that number. I could get that to you in HD6. But know this, it's 88% of it. Okay? There you go. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm a collective recorder. I hate math. But we have guys that love it in the office, so I'm glad for them. Okay, next one. Dark blue. Here's the other problem. How many have you seen this map before? Darker the blue, It's not the more the Democrat. Settle down. Darker the blues, the better, the higher the turnout. High propensity, dark blue, then the shades go down to light. How many of you seen this map before? Where have you seen this map? Yes. Oh, yeah. Where have you seen this map?
At the HD2 meeting.
HD2 meeting. Oh,
Sorry.
don't spoil it. Darth Vader is really bad. Yes.
It's inverted out.
What the hell is the inverted out? Yes. That's where all the people of color live. Okay, you could answer this. Nayeli. What else does that inverted L represent? Nayeli, my daughter. Gentrification development. How many people love trees? Where are the trees? Where the non-voters are. Oh no, where the voters are. Flip that. Sidewalks. School board members. Wannabe school board members. Where are the low-performing schools? Okay, you. Yes. Most of the restorative practice coordinators.
Interesting.
So, I know, she's mine. I'm happy.
I know. I do better.
Thank you. So, most of the... Nayeli, would you please explain that? Repeat it. What does that mean?
Wait, we gotta give her a microphone. This was like, I did this project like 2 years ago. Oh, okay. So I did this project like 2 years ago, but we were trying to, like, one of our things with the students were like, okay, where are all the, like, we need more restorative practice coordinators in certain DPS high schools, and we found out that a lot of them were on the inverted L. And that was like the connection.
Why would there even be a need for a restorative justice coordinator? It's discipline, right?
Yeah.
Kids end up in detention.
Right.
Kids end up in suspension.
Justice is good. So.
Right? I spent more time in detention, so I know about this. However, the inequity is there. And we all know this. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? But why does Sun Valley, that little sliver right there, given the state of the election, given the issues that were in the election, given the things that were said about people who are new Americans, who are poor, who, you know, why was the turnout different? You think that because of those issues driving people, that the turnout would be there? That'd be high. Why? And that's the question I'm asking. I don't have the answers as you click and record. I do kind of have some answers because I've asked some of you, but also because we've kind of jumped in some of those numbers, and I could talk to you, and I hope you candidates that are still here will take some of this advice. Next one. This is a citywide turnout. The last coordinated election, it's even worse, right? The coordinated election, which you're going to see in 2025, November 4th, right? Ballots drop on the 13th. Is the lowest type of election, the lowest turnout in any kind of election in the city. Think about what are on the issues on this ballot. Bond, probably. They still gotta do things with it, most likely. School board members, important questions, right? But this is your measure, right? Look at that delineation. There's a problem here. When you have things like school justice and school resources, closing of schools, who's going to speak for us? If not us, it should be us. Next one. 2025 coordinator. That was 24. We can do better. We have to do better. If we intend to defend democracy, it's going to be in the street. It's going to be in the courtrooms. It's going to be folks going to Chicago, do what they got to do, right? But it has to be with our participation. And we have to create a culture of participation. Now, the organizer in me, those of you who don't know me, but Clerk and Recorder Councilman, is union organizer. What we have to do is create a culture of participation so that every single election people are participating in this. How do we do that? Do we do that by knocking on, well, let me just get to this point. Take a picture of it. It'll last longer. The 10th, that's when we mail it to you. 13th, all the drop boxes open. Residency deadline. 20th, web building VSPC opens. All the VSPCs open on the 24th, on the 27th, and the coordinators on the 4th. No later than 7 p.m. Now that we got that over, what are those questions? Oh, these are your Dropbox locations. You got to move the Denver Botanic Gardens. A tree branch grew in front of the camera. So guess what my guys had to do? No, they won't let us touch that.
Did you cut the tree?
Well, no, we couldn't. The Botanic Gardens has something about plants that we can't even touch. So we literally had to move the dang box so it is in a different location. You'll see it when you drive by. Probably in a better location.
It's really obvious.
Okay. Nothing against trees, I'm just saying. Emily Griffith, Montclair, Windsor Gardens. This is going to be your vote center. Okay? We don't go all out to a vote center. We go all of our boxes today. And we want to kind of teach people to take it to the box, take it to the box, take it to the box. Why? Because in Atlanta, they don't have it. Because in Louisiana, they close those vote centers at 4 p.m. because they know who's out at 5. Right? They don't have drop boxes. Texas, maybe one. Harris County, right? For all their people. And you know how many we have? 46 now. We're on our way to 50 by 2026. Access is gonna pick up. However, it's participation that matters. So let's go to these questions. Who is that 23%? Why in an election where the stakes are high, do we have a drop in participation? What questions do you have given that data that I just showed? Yes.
Well, anecdotal.
Yes.
I'm really loud though, Andrew. Anecdotally, the kiddos around my daughter who's 19, they all tended to vote, but there is an exhaustion even among them, a disconnection, and it struck me that they've never known not insane. Trump was their first president in memory. And then Joe Biden with all of the Trump stuff that happened as well. And now Trump again. And they're tired. Like they just don't understand why they would participate because it's not going to do any good. We still get the crazy.
Do we have one in here that can answer that question? Any young person in here, not texting on her phone, that can answer that question? What was your first memory of a president? Who was it? Obama. It's a hell of a first president memory to have, right? The standard's set a little different. You're going to vote. You have to vote. You're the daughter of the Click and Reporter right now. But what about your friends that don't vote? Why? Why aren't they voting? The ones that are able to. Huh? No hope.
That's what I'm saying.
No representation. Yes. And we'll answer that a little bit too. Part of that has to do with two things. Remember this culture of participation. Think about how you voted. Who got you to vote? Why did you vote? I could tell you, one, it's a sense of duty. And two, because somebody in your family voted. If you do not have that factor, doesn't matter what your sense of duty is. If it's not a familial thing, guess who's not voting? Guess who determines where people determine their political affiliation? Home. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was looking at the list you had of the drop boxes.
Yes.
And I right on Rex.
Yeah.
And I want to know why we
close that box and put it in Montbello instead.
We have 2 of them in Montbello. We did that. We put one at the library. Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah. This is 6. That was 6. Yeah, I like the way you think, brother. I love the way you think. That's the counter to that. Yes, sir. And then I think we have another question right here.
Yep, Paul, and we keep it pretty short here.
Yep. So talk to me about the equity map. Ask me any question you got. What's going on? Why are we not?
So I'm going to build on what Tay said, that as much as you want to get more people out, it's the candidates and the parties and the people who need to engage people. And what they need to do is go up to neighborhood meetings and school parent association meetings and things, not when they're campaigning, but be in the damn community to talk to people and say, what's going on? What are your concerns? What are your questions? How can I help?
Can I get a former candidate here? Somebody's not afraid to reveal their plan. If you are a candidate and you only have a small amount of money because your Democrat doesn't take corporate donations and all this stuff, right? You only have a limited time. Whose door are you knocking on? Tell me who you're targeting.
Targeting the regular voters who always show up.
And who are those regular voters?
The guys in blue.
Freaking
Folks in the blue.
rich
Democratic
old
women, right? High propensity, votes in the primary. Right? It's not rocket science. But what about everybody else whose door you're not knocking on? Do we really expect to change anything if we're not asking for somebody's vote? Do we really think that those folks, us folks in precinct 429?
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm sorry over time, but these are very, I need to knock this point home.
You're good. It's 8:20. I think we have time for 3 more.
Okay. Okay, so I know we have one here, and then I'll get to.
It's okay. I got the teacher voice.
Yes.
So what I would say to what you're saying is that when we went out and we de-canvassed for Carveo,
Yep.
I was out canvassing for 6 months,
Yep.
telling the story, getting people engaged, showing back up at those people's houses, keeping the commitments I made, explaining to them how they were able to vote, what it would mean for their families to vote.
Yep.
Those voters voted 7% higher rate than the voters that we didn't talk to, but Carveo's campaign did knock on doors. So it has to do with how we communicate.
Right.
And I think the other thing that we can do is not just send the candidates out where we are, but as representatives of those candidates. And before the pandemic, the kids came to my front lawn over on Harrison Street, and we just made posters for whatever they wanted, and I baked pancakes, and I bought cheap syrup at Costco, and they just came one morning, and they wrote about what they wanted to do. The kids from Keller, where my kid went to school at the time. And so we have to cultivate that. And I don't have your job, so I don't make you doing the same thing, but she is out canvassing, and she talks to her friends,
Yep.
and she's just 14.
Yeah. Let me get Sir you and then.
Okay. So when we talk about like voter turnout for people that are younger, some people don't know.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Is that better? So one of the big things that I will always say is, as someone that was younger, graduating in 2014 high school, the process is slow. Even though it's 22 days out, we have technology. A lot of people are afraid of technology. You can make an app to vote. You have the youth vote. But again, there's regulations, there's rules, there's processes, there's money behind it. If you really want to make a significant impact, you go to social media. You don't want to do social media because of privacy rights. That's fine. You still create the app. You make a voter guide. You do everything right there. You provide the necessary information. Yeah, I'll just leave it right there.
We did that, and we did that before. Everything produced a paper ballot, and then.
I would say, and I know you found, like, what are we trained as candidates? And I'll just be very blunt. When I ran for school board at large, I was told no need to go to Montbello. no need to go to certain parts of Park Hill. There's no need to go to certain parts of Southwest Denver or to Northwest Denver. I was told to come to House District 6. I was told to go to House District 9. I was told to focus on House District 2 because white voters were going to show up in this election. And that is stuff that is ingrained in candidates time and time and time and time again. Yes, to the point of showing up when there is no election, because I know some people just pop out the blue and want to be your elected official, but we've not seen them. As voters of color, we've not seen any of these folks. And then they pop up, and then we're asked to give folks our votes, but we don't know where these folks are coming from. And because we're not turning out at large numbers, House District 6, House District 2, House District 9, and parts of House District 8 determine citywide elections because of the low voter turnouts in other House districts that are high propensity voters of color.
Okay,
Let that sink in with you.
Thank you, Tate. One more, and I want to finish up because I want to respect your guys' time. So go for it.
Not to rain on anyone's parade about just voter outreach, I think one of the things we're missing in this conversation is that these people know how to vote often, and they're not voting because they don't want to vote. And I think it's because the platform that's being offered is not something they find compelling. And it's very important that the Democrats here in this room is Donald Trump had more low propensity voters than anyone else before. He recruited young Latino men, young black men, and young Asian men that didn't vote in the previous 2 cycles for Democrats, voted for him, right? Because they felt like he was offering something else. But other candidates in the Democrats have done that. You know, Bernie Sanders surged new voters. Zoran Mamdani City surged new voters. So it's not just about knocking on doors, going to those meetings, talking to voters who don't vote. It's about offering something to those light shaded areas that they're not getting from the platform. Those dark areas, platform, they get the benefits from voting. Those other folks aren't voting not because they don't know how, it's because they get nothing out of it.
So let me, I appreciate that. So let me bring this in, and out of respect for your guys this evening and time, and I do appreciate the time that I spent with you here, because if we do not challenge every single candidate that comes in front of us, and I said this to the Republicans too, okay? Just out of fairness, I have the same conversation, same question. They say the same thing. If we do not challenge the candidates and say, I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, school board, city council, your click and record. What the heck are you doing for these other precincts? You all can go door to door, and you have limited resources. You do it voluntarily, or HDs, or volunteer, right? What are we doing to challenge folks who are running for office to believe in this philosophy? That don't just knock on the doors of people that matter. If we want to create a culture of participation, if we want to move the needle past 86%, if we want to challenge Minnesota and their established culture of participation, right? If we want to defend democracy, if we want to have people represented, then we have to knock on those doors. As your clerk and recorder, we make it easy. We're putting a box everywhere. We're expanding. We continue to make it accessible, right? We need help for the folks that are involved. Doesn't matter if they're Democrat, Republican, or unaffiliated, to make it happen.
Right.
Because if not, we're going to lose it. And we're in process of losing it. So with that, I want to say, before I leave, I just want to say thank you so much for your participation. I recognize some of the election judges here. I recognize our campus board member, Mark, who I just appointed to the EAC Elections Advisory Council in our office. So he's the Democratic one. The other thing is, I'm going to leave you with a nugget, because I need your help. 2026, City and County of Denver is facing a $250 million shortfall. Your clerk and recorder's office was made to be independent. No matter what happens in the city, it is not under the mayor's purview cut our budget. It's not the first fight we've had with it. But I need our folks in Denver to defend that. Because in 2026, we have 2 major elections. As I said in 23, when they try to cut our budget and reduce our budget, we said, do you realize what the next election is? And I'm going to repeat it again. Do you realize what's at stake in 2026? We need folks to speak up. I'm going to need your support, not for a campaign, but to defend the independence of your clerk and recorder's office. That's being tested right now. The budget is being undercut, and we're talking with City Council because they are obligated by charter to fulfill that. Those independent agencies, you know something about that, don't you, Madam DA? We have to keep it intact. So, with that, thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight. Remember, next month our meeting will be the School Board Candidate Forum. October, we'll have 2 more Attorney General candidates. A few things, please take additional food that we have. If you have a donation,
Please take the food. And does anybody want ice cream? Please take my ice cream.
all right. Thank you, everybody. Please help us put away the tables and chairs, and have a great night.
What?